Most people dream of living in a house like this. 10 bedrooms, an Olympic-sized pool, and enough marble to pave a small city. My parents, the Sterlings, are the kind of people who buy art just to let it rot in climate-controlled basements. They represent the peak of American success. But I'm filming this because I just realized that this entire lifestyle, every memory I have, and even the DNA in my blood, it's all a carefully constructed lie. I'm currently locked in my bathroom, sitting on the floor with a heavy dresser pushed against the door. My father's security team is roaming the hallways outside. They think I'm sleeping. They think I'm still their perfect boy. But 3 hours ago, I found a room that isn't on the architectural blueprints of this estate. A room that has been hidden behind the library for 22 years. What I found inside changes everything. It's not a secret vault for money. It's not a dark family secret about a crime. It's worse. I found me. Or at least, the person who was supposed to be me. If you're watching this, I'm either missing or I finally escaped the gilded cage. Listen closely, because this could happen to anyone with enough money to play God.
Let's back up. My childhood was sterile. That's the best word for it. My dad, Julian Sterling, made his billions in biotech and private equity. My mom, Eleanor, was a high-level diplomat. I was an only child, the miracle baby they had late in life after years of trying. They doted on me, sure, but it felt more like they were monitoring a high-value asset than raising a son. I was homeschooled. Tutors came and went, but they were always vetted by a security firm. I wasn't allowed to play contact sports, too dangerous. I wasn't allowed to travel without a 3-car convoy. I thought it was just billionaire paranoia. You know, the fear of kidnapping or ransom. I grew up thinking the world outside these gates was a chaotic, dangerous place, and that my parents were my only shield. The house itself is a fortress. It's a 1920s-style Tudor mansion in Greenwich, Connecticut. But the guts of it are all 21st century tech. Every room has silent alarms. Every hallway has cameras. But there's one place the cameras don't look. The North Library. It's my dad's sanctuary. Thousands of first edition books that nobody ever reads. Yesterday, the central air conditioning failed. The HVAC technician, a guy named Mike who's worked on this estate for years, was looking at the original 1990s floor plans on his tablet. He looked at the wall between the library and the master suite and frowned. He said, "That's weird. According to the structural load, there's an 8-foot dead space here. No pipes, no wiring, just a void." I laughed it off. I told him it was probably just an old chimney or a structural pillar. But after he left, that void started eating at me. Why would a man who optimizes every square inch of his business leave a massive empty space in the middle of his home?
I waited until my parents left for their weekly charity gala at the Met. The house was empty, except for the guards at the gatehouse. I went into the library. It's a heavy room. Smells like old paper, cedar, and my dad's expensive scotch. I started tapping on the walls. Solid, solid, solid. Then I hit the paneling behind the portrait of my great-grandfather. It sounded hollow, but there was no handle, no hidden switch in a book. I'm a tech kid, so I started looking for sensors. I grabbed my iPad and ran a high-frequency scanner app near the frame. Bingo. A Bluetooth low-energy signal was broadcasting from behind the wood. It was encrypted, but the device name was just a string of numbers. 092494. September 24th, 1994. My birthday. My heart was thumping against my ribs so hard I thought I'd pass out. I tried the obvious. I typed my birthday into the bypass code on my dad's smart home interface. Nothing. Then I tried the date on the hidden signal. Click. It wasn't a loud sound.
I pushed the door open. It was a bedroom.
but it was like a time capsule from the early 90s. There were Lion King posters on the wall, a Super Nintendo hooked up to an old tube TV, a pile of Legos on a rug that looked brand new. But then I saw the bed. It wasn't a normal bed. It was a specialized medical bed, surrounded by heart monitors, IV stands, and oxygen tanks. Everything was clean, perfectly maintained, as if someone was expected to move back in at any second. I walked over to the desk. There was a framed photo of my parents. They looked younger, happier. My mom was holding a toddler. I looked closer. The toddler had a small, crescent-shaped birthmark on his left temple. I felt my stomach drop. I have that same birthmark. I opened the top drawer of the desk. Inside was a leather-bound journal. The handwriting was my mother's. I started reading the entries from 1993. She talked about the illness. She talked about the failure of the heart. On August 12, 1994, she wrote, "Our sweet Julian Jr. is gone. The world is gray. But Julian says we don't have to accept this. He says science can give us back what God took away." I sat on the floor, my head spinning. I kept flipping through the pages. The entry skipped a few years.
I heard the garage door hum. They were back. I panicked. I grabbed the folder in the journal, scrambled out of the secret room, and hit the close command on the panel. The bookshelf was halfway shut when I realized I'd left my flashlight inside. I didn't have time. I heard my father's voice in the foyer. "Check the library," he told his head of security, Marcus. "I left the tablet in there." I dove behind the large mahogany desk just as the library door opened. I watched Marcus's polished shoes walk across the rug. He stopped right in front of the hidden door. He's a pro. He noticed the bookshelf wasn't seated perfectly. He touched the frame, frowned, and then looked around the room. I held my breath until my lungs burned. My phone buzzed in my pocket. A text from my mom. "Are you asleep, honey?" The vibration felt like a chainsaw in the quiet room. Marcus turned toward the desk. I was seconds away from being caught. But then my dad called out from the hallway, and Marcus turned and left, closing the heavy oak doors behind him. I sprinted to my room, walked the door, and started digging through the Echo 4 file. That's when I found the most disturbing part. I wasn't the first Echo. There was an Echo 1, an Echo 2, and an Echo 3. I looked for their files. Echo 1 died of the same heart condition as the original baby at age 5. Echo 2 had neurological instability and was decommissioned in 2001. Echo 3 lived until he was 12. I'm 19 now.
I couldn't stay. Not another hour. If I stayed, I knew I'd eventually just disappear to a private clinic in Switzerland, and a few months later, a new Sterling son would appear, looking just like me, but cured. I packed a bag with some cash I'd hidden, my passport, and the files. I climbed out my second-story balcony, sliding down the trellis like I used to do when I was a kid trying to sneak out to see friends I wasn't allowed to have. I hit the ground and stayed in the shadows, avoiding the sweep of the perimeter cameras. I knew the rotation. Every 90 seconds, the Southgate camera pans toward the woods. I ran. I didn't look back at the mansion. It wasn't a home anymore. It was a factory. I made it to the edge of the property, crawled under the electric fence at a weak point I'd found years ago, and started running toward the main road. I didn't have a car. I couldn't use Uber. The app is linked to my dad's account. He'd see the GPS. I flagged down a long-haul trucker at a gas station 3 miles away. I told him my car broke down and my phone was dead. I gave him $500 in cash to drive me straight to New York City. As we pulled onto the I-95, I saw a black SUV, one of my dad's, speeding in the opposite direction. They knew. They were already looking for me. My dad doesn't lose his investments, especially not the ones he spent 20 years perfecting.
So here I am. I'm in a motel that charges by the hour. I've turned off all my tracking. I'm using a burner laptop. My whole life is a lie. Every birthday cake, every I love you,
every "we're so proud of you," it was all directed at a ghost. They didn't love me. They loved the idea of not losing. They loved the control they had over life and death. To the world, Julian and Eleanor Sterling are philanthropists. They are icons of the American dream. But behind the library wall of that Greenwich mansion, there's a graveyard of boys who look just like me. I'm posting this video to several cloud servers. If it's public, it means I've reached the lawyers. It means I've gone to the press. I'm going to do a DNA test, not a consumer one, a full forensic sequence. I want the world to see the patent numbers in my blood. Mom, Dad, if you're watching this, don't bother sending Marcus. I'm not Echo 4 anymore. I'm a person. And I'm going to make sure no Echo 5 ever has to wake up in that room. My life might have started in a lab, but it's going to end on my own terms. Goodbye.